1 month before the wedding, I searched everywhere in Lanny Murray's home, his office, and our new house. But I couldn't find him. On the 7th day of his disappearance, I received a message. It is said that he was spotted in S City. I took a plane and rushed there overnight. Finally, in a cabin on a cruise ship, I saw him. As I was about to push the door open, I saw he smiling and saying, I was too deliberately disgusting Eddie to pursue Ashley. When I heard him mention me, I froze in my tracks. He sneered, not looking like he was drunk. There was a wave of ambiguous laughter around. Lanny also laughed along, took a puff of his cigarette, and said, if it weren't for my enmity with Eddie Flew and Ashley Green chasing him for 10 years, I wouldn't have pursued that woman, nor would I have acted like a passionate man. Someone in the crowd continued, I heard she was looking for you everywhere and almost went crazy. Lanny blew out a puff of smoke and chuckled. Wouldn't it be fun to run away from the wedding and embarrass her? I stood at the doorway, gazing at the expression on his face, which radiated a triumphant sense of revenge. My fingertips sank into my palms, and my heart felt like it was being pricked with needles, suffocating in pain. I still remember the day he proposed to me. He set off fireworks for me throughout the city, and the sky filled with lanterns. I didn't expect that it was all a play he staged to retaliate against Eddie Flew. A tear fell, and I quickly wiped it away. I saw a man next to him raising his glass and teasing, Mr. Murray, you should go back first and then leave her embarrassed on the day of the wedding. I bet Ashley Green will definitely go crazy. The whole crowd burst into disgusting laughter. I felt a wave of nausea outside the door. Then I saw Lanny lower his head, a cold smile forming at the corner of his mouth. Well, that's a good idea. Boundless anger pressed down on me, almost suffocating me. I forced out a bitter smile. Lanny Murray, you want to play a game, right? Then I'll act with you. I really want to see what expression you'll have when I run away from the wedding. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. I erased all my traces of going to S City and returned to the house I shared with Lanny. I took out all the gifts he had given me over the years and destroyed them one by one. It's strange. I didn't think about anything, so why are there so many tears flowing? I once heard a saying, heartbreak is like getting rheumatism. It's fine during the sunny day, but at night, it becomes damp and bone-piercingly painful. Maybe it's just my withdrawal symptoms. I got up and spread the custom-made wedding dress on the floor. Expressionless, I cut a torn slit with scissors. I wanted to remind myself, that's how relationships are. Once there's a crack, no matter how you try to mend it, it can never return to its original state. After tidying up everything, I put these things in the study. Lanny rarely goes in there. I lay in bed, unable to sleep, and when I was scrolling through short videos, I came across a notification from someone who I might know. The name was Lanny's admirer. Almost involuntarily, I clicked on it. It was a record of a girl secretly loving a man. In the latest post, her location was tagged as S City. The caption is, the man I've liked for 10 years is getting married next month. I want to gather the courage to confess. Cheer me on. In her picture, I saw a familiar hand. There was still a wedding ring on the ring finger. It was Lanny Murray. I didn't wait for any news from Lanny, but I received a call from Eddie Flew. Guess who I ran into in S City? Eddie, I don't care. Stop calling me from different numbers. As I was about to hang up, I heard his satisfaction suppressed beneath his voice. Ashley, why do you think Lanny Murray has been missing for so long? Don't you understand? He doesn't want to marry you. He minds that you pursued me. He was just using you to get back at me. He's not someone worth trusting. What do you want to say? I was starting to get impatient. Ashley, for at least the 10 years when you had feelings for me, there was no other girl by my side except you. I sat up and raised my voice. Eddie Flew, you did it on purpose, didn't you? It's been 5 years, and you're still so eager to drive a wedge between him and me. But let me tell you, no matter what, this is my choice. I'm willing to bet and lose, and I won't turn back. In a daze, I recalled some past events. At the age of 12, I was brought back to the Green family from a small town in the south, feeling cramped and insecure. Back then, Eddie only protected me from bullying, and I fell in love with him hopelessly. I pursued him until it became common knowledge, but he despised me. Then I finally got bored and gave up on him. I saw Lanny Murray, who had silently guarded me all along. Little did I know that after I fell in love with Lanny, Eddie changed his usual cold attitude towards me and pursued me relentlessly. Eddie fell silent for a moment and answered with a non sequitur. I sent you something that you might find interesting. After hanging up the phone, I received a video. In the dim light, a girl stood face to face with Lanny. He blew out a smoke ring, his expression as lazy as ever. Amidst the cheering, the girl tiptoed and kissed his lips. And he didn't dodge. The video ended there. I opened the girl's social media account. She had already updated her status. That's a success, right? The picture showed the two of them kissing. I felt disgusted and ran to the bathroom, hugging the toilet and retching for a long time. Only then did I remember that I hadn't eaten anything for a day. What could I possibly throw up? At this moment, my stomachache became unbearable, causing spasms. I forced myself to endure the pain and fell onto the bed, curling up. Suddenly, I remembered when Lanny and I had just confirmed our relationship, and I wanted to see the stars on the mountaintop at midnight. Without a word, he indulged my little whims and drove me to the mountaintop overnight. It was slightly chilly at midnight, and he gently held me, his body heat transferring to me. He leaned down cautiously and asked me, "The moonlight is so beautiful, Ashley. Can I kiss you? We can never go back." I slept in a daze until midnight when I heard some noise in the living room. I broke into a cold sweat and didn't have the strength to get up. The next second, the bedroom light turned on. The glaring light made it impossible for me to open my eyes. I heard Lanny's anxious voice. "Ashley, what's wrong with you?" I woke up in the hospital at 7 a.m., seeing Lanny holding my hand, looking exhausted as if he had been watching over me all night. He got up to pour me some water. "Why were you so mean to yourself when I was away? Your stomach has always been weak. This is like asking for trouble, huh?" He questioned me. You see, how ridiculous. During the week I couldn't find him, I couldn't eat or sleep, and I lost 5 pounds. I always thought that maybe Lanny had offended someone in the business world and got kidnapped. I was worried and scared, unable to sleep every night, my tears wetting the pillow. But he was at ease elsewhere, gallivanting with another girl. "Aren't you going to say anything?" Lanny had a smile in his eyes as he pinched my face. "You know I'll punish you, right? All right, get up and have something to eat. I made porridge for you to have when you woke up." I didn't sleep all night. He helped me up as if nothing had happened, feeding me spoonful by spoonful. There were times when I really wanted to ask him, "Lanny Murray, aren't you tired of acting?" Or tell him, "Lanny Murray, I overheard your conversation. If you don't want to get married, we can cancel the wedding right away. We haven't registered anyway." But I still held it back and swallowed it. I also wanted to know, even though we've loved each other for so many years, why would he treat me like this? Just because I used to have feelings for someone else. Does that mean I don't deserve love? "Sweetheart, why are you crying?" He put down the bowl and hurriedly wiped away my tears. "I was wrong. It's all my fault, okay?" I lowered my gaze, slowly closed my eyes, and fell into Lanny's embrace. He gently stroked my back and began to explain. "Darling, I'm sorry for worrying you. I was just a little too excited. You know, when I realized I was going to marry you, I couldn't believe it for a moment. I was afraid it was a dream, so I wanted to wake myself up. That's why I left for a while. I'm sorry I didn't tell you in advance. Will you forgive me?" He lied. "And in 20 days, we'll be getting married. During this time, I'll be at home with you, making you the most beautiful bride, okay? But Lanny, we don't have a future anymore." He used his fingertips to wipe away the tears on my cheek. "When those peach blossom eyes are fixed on you, they make you feel so deeply loved. I'm going out to smoke. We'll leave the hospital in a little while." Lanny must have been too confident in me, or perhaps he wasn't afraid that I would overthink. After all, he was just fulfilling what his buddies had said, acting affectionate. So, I picked up his phone that kept receiving notifications. The password was my birthday. I've always known, but I've never checked. I opened the phone, and there were many messages from a girl named Lucia. They were all from yesterday. "Lanny, you came back so late. Make sure to rest early. I heard you're getting married. Can you send me an invitation? I want to share in the joy. I saw you holding your stomach when I got off the plane. Are you feeling unwell? I stewed millet porridge for you overnight. Good for your stomach. Praise me." He didn't reply to the previous ones, only this one. He replied, "Deliver it to this address." I glanced at the pink thermos box on the table and felt nauseous again. The girl continued to send messages. "Are you sick? Is it serious? Shall I come to the hospital to accompany you? Take care of your health. I've been sitting in the lobby all night. My legs are numb and my period cramps are so painful." I turned off the phone and marked the messages as unread. Then I got out of bed and went to the lobby. Sure enough, I saw Lanny Murray and the girl from yesterday. Through the crowd, I quietly watched them chatting and laughing. The girl danced with excitement, her ponytail bouncing up and down. I didn't know what they were talking about, but she pouted and touched her belly, and Lanny reached out to ruffle her hair. There was a moment when I felt like a voyeuristic third party in someone else's affair. From last night's kiss to today's hair ruffling, it seems that Lanny really likes her. Yeah, I get it. Who wouldn't like someone who silently treats them well, without asking for anything in return, and fills their heart and eyes? I chuckled self-deprecatingly. As I turned and walked around the corner, I saw Eddie Flew. He emerged from the shadows, his gaze dark and focused on Lanny's direction. "So, this is the opponent you chose for me?" I stared at him. "Don't flatter yourself. Ashley, Really? Why didn't you continue pursuing me back then? I found it somewhat inexplicable. I pursued him for 10 years. Wasn't that enough? Since I stopped pursuing him, he started trying to make his presence known more often. Perhaps he never really liked me. He was just like Lanny, unwilling to let go. Even so, are you still going to get married? Eddie asked me. I pursed my lips. Mind your own business. I've long given up on you. I really don't want to see you. He brushed past me. Eddie asked, even if he finds someone else, you don't mind? It does matter. I pressed down on the spot where my heart was. It hurts a bit, but I know, one day it will be okay. Just 20 more days left, Ashley, endure it. On the way home with Lanny, I told him that the custom-made wedding dress I had accidentally ruined. Does this signify something bad happening? I observed his expression quietly. He only furrowed his brows slightly, then turned his head to hold my hand, smiling as gently as before. Then let's go see another wedding dress tomorrow, all right? That wedding dress was custom-made for half a year, designed by my favorite designer, one of a kind. It was delivered just a week ago. It looked great on me, but Lanny happened to be missing and didn't see me wearing it. I don't want it anymore. Do I have any regrets? I don't. Lanny Murray, you want to play, don't you? This was just the beginning. The next day, I tried on wedding dresses again, but the ready-made dresses didn't fit well at all. I deliberately had Lanny accompany me for a whole day, but we couldn't find a suitable one. On the way back, I sighed. What a pity. It's all my carelessness, I said. Lanny smiled. It's all right. Take your time. I stared into his eyes. Lanny, since the wedding dress is ruined, why don't we just not get married? Suddenly, he slammed on the brakes, and I was propelled forward by the inertia. I crashed into Lanny's hand, and he protected me. Are you okay? He asked. I shook my head, pretending to ask him, what's wrong? I was just kidding. He held onto my hand tightly and hugged me. Darling, I can't handle this kind of joke. Don't you know how long I've been waiting for this day? Really? But Lanny, wasn't this what you agreed on? Accompanying me to pick a wedding dress, helping me write invitations, creating happy memories together, and then stabbing me in the back. I was just creating an opportunity for you. What are you afraid of? When we got back home in the evening, before I could even take off my shoes, Lanny hugged me and pressed me against the cabinet at the entrance. His scorching body tightly embraced me as kisses rained down on me. He was eager to vent his emotions. I dodged and gently pushed him away. Lanny, I'm not in the mood. I don't want to do it. When I dampened the mood with my words, he stiffened, as if he was trying hard to see something in my face. After a while, he sighed and hugged me, gently rubbing my stomach with his warm hand. Is your stomach still hurting? I neither nodded nor shook my head. His kiss landed on my hair. You sit for a while. I'll take a shower and then cook for you. The phone kept flashing beside me. I unlocked it and saw a message from that girl. Lanny, I haven't received my invitation yet. By the way, the HR department asked me to go to your company tomorrow. My resume has been approved. I hope everything goes smoothly so I can see you every day. I can also bring you lunch, which I made myself. I gently placed the phone back down. Then I opened my wedding preparation diary. I wrote, countdown to the wedding, 19 days. Today, I went with Lanny to pick a wedding dress. It's such a pity that none of them fit. Maybe it's because I've lost too much weight recently, but it doesn't matter. Just the thought of becoming his bride makes me so happy. He feels the same way, right? As I flipped through the pages, I added some notes about the little things that happened during this time. Countdown to the wedding, 30 days. Lanny disappeared, and I couldn't find him. I kept watching the plans for our wedding venue on my tablet, crying all night until my eyes were swollen. Countdown to the wedding, 20 days. Lanny came back. Did I push him too hard and make him afraid of getting married? It's my fault. I shouldn't have done that. I just love him too much. These will be the most heart-wrenching gifts I'll give him in the future. The wedding dress was ultimately chosen by Lanny. He said we would make do with it for now, as he had already commissioned a master to custom make a new wedding dress for us to wear during our wedding on the island. Oh, that island was bought by Lanny when he proposed to me, and he named it after me. How ironic. Back then, he was the one who finally got what he wished for. But now, as our wedding approaches, he's the one trying to escape and embarrass me. Lanny Murray, tell me, is it really so difficult to find a sincere heart in this world? I saw an update from that girl again. Work went smoothly. Lanny let me stay by his side, getting closer to my crush. The picture was a sneak shot of Lanny in a meeting. I took screenshots of all of them, and I wrote in the diary, countdown to the wedding, 17 days. The moon on the sea is the moon in the sky, and the person in front of me is the person in my heart. But few people know that the next line of this poem is, the heart has always been a spectator's heart, but the person is a character in the play. It's just a fleeting dream, but I insist on weaving a dream of happiness for him, and then letting him fall into the abyss. So for the past week, I made Lanny accompany me to do many things. I didn't participate in any of the wedding details this time. I let Lanny handle everything with the planning company. I want him to understand every aspect of it. Even the smallest bouquet, I want him to know where it came from. I want him to be precise about every step and what needs to be done every minute, even more than I do. He hugged me and acted spoiled. Darling, marrying you is truly a huge project. I smiled. Lanny, with such a big project and so much effort put into it, you won't run away on the wedding day, will you? He fell silent for a moment and didn't say anything. After a while, he held me tightly. Darling, how could I possibly run away on our wedding day? I love you to death. But the one who loves me to death still posted in his group of friends. Planning a wedding is really exhausting, so running away on the day would be even more enjoyable, right? Leaving behind a mess, embarrassing everyone close to us. This is the revenge Lanny wants. I didn't say anything, just held his hand and wrote the invitation cards. Actually, the invitations had already been sent out long ago, but I suggested sending them again to our closest friends. He personally picked up the pen, and I personally poured the ink. I had him write, looking forward to sunrise, thinking of sunset, everything we encounter will be sweet. I smiled at him and said, this is the life I want. He didn't respond because I saw him messaging that girl. I'll give you the invitation tomorrow. The girl sent a happy expression. I also wrote, countdown to the wedding, 8 days. Will we wait for a perfect ending? Of course, we won't.